The ship docked at Nexus 7 with a soft hiss. The doors opened slowly, and out stepped Tae-ho Kim. He moved with care, each step measured and deliberate. His thin frame seemed almost lost in the standard-issue science uniform that hung loosely on his shoulders. "Welcome to Nexus 7, Dr. Kim," said the station AI in a pleasant voice. "Please proceed to medical for standard entry checks." Tae-ho sighed. He knew what would happen next. It was always the same. The medical bay was busy with beings from a dozen worlds. Tall, muscular aliens with thick scales stood next to four-armed engineers with skin like polished metal. They all turned to look as Tae-ho entered. "The human has arrived," whispered a blue-skinned technician to her friend. She didn't try to keep her voice down. Dr. Yun, the head medical officer, walked over. She was Tae-ho's cousin, and one of the few other humans on the station. Her face lit up with a smile, but her eyes showed worry. "Tae-ho, how was your trip?" she asked, giving him the gentlest of hugs. "Long," he said with a small smile. "Very long." Dr. Yun guided him to a private medical pod. The scanner hummed as it moved over his body. "Still taking your bone strength meds?" she asked, reading the results. "Every day, but they can only do so much." The scanner beeped, showing what they both already knew. Tae-ho's bones were like glass. His immune system was weak. By human standards, he was very sick. By the standards of the powerful alien races on Nexus 7, he might as well have been made of paper. "Why did they call for me?" Tae-ho asked, carefully putting his jacket back on. "They have scientists here." Dr. Yun handed him a tablet. "Because none of them can solve this." Tae-ho looked at the data, and his eyes widened. The space-time fabric around the station was tearing. Small at first, but growing. If it continued, the whole quadrant could collapse. "I'll need access to the main core," he said, already thinking through equations in his head. "You'll have it, and a security team," Station Commander Day insisted. Tae-ho frowned. "I don't need babysitters." "It's not up for debate," she said firmly. "Day says the situation is complex." As they left medical, a group of massive aliens blocked their path. They were Vorkarians, known for their strength and bad tempers. The leader, nearly 7 feet tall with gray skin like armor, looked down at Tae-ho. "This is the human expert," he rumbled, voice like stones grinding together. "He looks like he would break in a strong wind." Tae-ho didn't flinch. He had heard it all before. "Excuse us," Dr. Yun said sharply. "Dr. Kim needs to report to command." The Vorkarian stepped aside, but not before muttering, "Humans. The galaxy's weakest species sends its weakest member." They reached the command center where Station Commander Dai waited. The Yildarian leader stood tall, his skin shimmering with colors that reflected his mood. Currently, it was a deep purple of concern. "Dr. Kim, thank you for coming," Dai said. "We have a serious problem that needs your unique mind." "So I see," Tae-ho replied, nodding at the data still displayed on his tablet. "The tear is growing faster than expected." "Yes, and we have reason to believe it was not an accident." Tae-ho looked up sharply. "Sabotage." Dai nodded, his skin flashing red briefly. "That's why you'll have protection. Commander Jun and Lieutenant Hana will be here shortly." As if on cue, the door opened. 2 beings entered, and Tae-ho had to look up to see their faces. "Your security detail, Dr. Kim," said Dai. "They will keep you safe while you save us all." Tae-ho looked at the massive aliens and then back at the complex equations on his tablet. Everyone expected him to fix this impossible problem, and despite his fragile body, he would. Tae-ho looked up at his new guards. Commander Jun stood like a statue, his rock-like skin a deep gray with tiny crystals that caught the light. He was at least 8 feet tall, and had arms as thick as Tae-ho's whole body. Next to him was Lieutenant Hana. She was shorter than Jun, but still towered over Tae-ho. Her skin was covered in light blue scales that seemed to shift and change as she moved. Her eyes were sharp and missed nothing. "Dr. Kim," said June in a voice like distant thunder, "we are honored to protect you." Tai-ho nodded. "Thank you, but I really just need to get to work." Hannah's scales rippled with a pattern that might have been amusement. "Work and safety can happen at the same time, Doctor." Commander Dae's skin turned a calm blue. "Show Dr. Kim to the main science lab. He will need full access to our systems." As they walked through the station's wide halls, Tai-ho felt small between his two guards. Other beings moved out of their way, some whispering as they passed. Is the human really going to fix the tear? He looks like he could barely lift a datapad. They say his mind is the strongest in the galaxy. Tai-ho was used to the comments. He had heard them his whole life. "Does it bother you?" asked Hannah suddenly. "What they say?" Tai-ho shrugged. "Words don't break bones." "Though some look like they want to test if you would break easily," said June, glaring at a group of Vorkarians watching them from a food hall. The science lab was huge, with tall windows showing the stars outside. Tai-ho went straight to the main computer and began to work. His fingers flew over the controls, his mind already deep in the problem. "Amazing," whispered Hannah to June. "I've never seen anyone work so fast." Hours passed. Tai-ho barely noticed. The tear in space-time was worse than he had thought. Much worse. The data showed it had been growing for weeks, not days. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered. "The tear pattern is too regular, too designed." He was so lost in his work that he didn't notice when the lab door opened. A group of Vorkarians entered, the same ones from earlier. Their leader, a scared warrior named Bok, walked straight toward Tai-ho. "Human," he said loudly, "we need this lab for real work." Tai-ho didn't look up. "I'm not finished. Please come back later." Bok's face darkened with anger. "You don't give orders here, weak one." He reached out a massive hand toward Tai-ho's shoulder, but before he could touch the human, Jun moved, faster than seemed possible for someone so large. His rock-like hand caught Bok's wrist. "The doctor is working," said Jun, his voice deadly quiet, "to save all our lives." Bok tried to pull free, but couldn't move Jun's grip even an inch. "You would fight for this fragile human." "If needed," said Hannah, suddenly beside them. Her scales had turned a dangerous red, but it would not be a fair fight. The tension in the room was thick. Tai-ho finally looked up from his work, surprised by the scene. "Is there a problem?" he asked calmly. "No problem," growled Bok, finally pulling his arm free. "We were just leaving." The Vorkarians backed out of the lab, but not before Bok said, "When the station breaks apart, your guards won't be able to protect you from space, human." After they left, Tai-ho looked at June and Hannah. "Thank you, but that wasn't necessary." "It was," said June simply. "Did you find anything about the tear?" asked Hannah, changing the subject. Tai-ho nodded, turning back to his screen. "Yes, and I don't think it was an accident." He pointed to a pattern in the data. "Look here. These energy spikes are too regular, too perfect." June leaned closer. "What does it mean?" Tai-ho's face was serious. "It means someone is trying to destroy Nexus 7, and they're using the fabric of space-time to do it." Commander Dae's skin flashed a deep red when Tai-ho showed him the evidence. "Sabotage." Dae's voice was low and tense. "Are you certain?" "Yes," said Tai-ho, pointing to his findings on the large screen. "These patterns can't happen naturally. Someone changed the station's core systems to create the tier." They were in the station's secure command room. June stood by the door, still as a mountain. Hannah paced, her scales shifting between blue and orange. "Who would want to destroy Nexus 7? asked Hannah. "It's a science and trade hub, not a military target." Tai-ho zoomed in on part of the data. "The code used to change the core systems has a signature. I've seen it before." "Draxians," said June suddenly. Tai-ho nodded. "Yes, their programming style is unique." Dae's colors swirled with worry. This is bad timing. A Draxian ship is coming to Nexus 7 tomorrow. What? Hannah stopped pacing. Why wasn't security told? It was just decided. They asked for an emergency meeting. Said it was for diplomatic talks. Tai-Ho looked back at his data. This tear will grow too large to fix in 3 days. Their timing is perfect. Day moved to the main communication panel. I need to alert Central Command. He looked at Tai-Ho. Can you stop the tear? I think so. But I need access to the station's core. The physical core, not just the computer systems. That's the most secure area on Nexus 7, said Hannah. And the most dangerous, added June. Even for beings stronger than humans. Day thought for a moment, his colors shifting rapidly. You'll have access. June and Hannah will take you there after you rest. I don't need. Tai-Ho began. Yes, you do, said Dr. Yun, entering the room with a medical scanner in hand. Your vitals are dropping. Your body needs rest, even if your mind doesn't. Tai-Ho wanted to argue, but suddenly felt very tired. He nodded. A few hours. No more. As June and Hannah led Tai-Ho to his quarters, alarms began to sound throughout the station. What's happening? Asked Tai-Ho. Hannah touched her communication device. The Draxian ship has arrived. They're early. Too early, growled June. They're not following the flight plan. They hurried through suddenly busy corridors. Station crew ran to their emergency stations. Worried voices filled the air. When they reached Tai-Ho's quarters, Hannah's device beeped again. Her scales paled. The Draxian ship, it's a battlecruiser, not a diplomatic vessel. June's rocky face hardened even more. Warships don't come for talks. Tai-Ho sat heavily on his bed, his thin body showing his exhaustion. But his mind was still sharp. They're here to make sure the tear destroys the station. They probably have a way to protect their ship when it happens. Why? Asked June. What do the Draxians gain from destroying Nexus 7? Humans, said Tai-Ho simply. This station is the first major joint project between humans and the other galactic species. If it fails, the alliance could break, finished Hannah. Humans would be seen as unreliable partners. Tai-Ho nodded. The Draxians have always seen humans as too weak to be worthy allies. The room's communication screen lit up with Commander De's face. His colors were a storm of purple and red. The Draxian delegation is boarding. Their leader, General Sung, demands that all senior staff meet them. That includes you, Dr. Kim. Me? Why? He specifically asked for the human scientist. De's colors darkened further. Be careful, Tai-Ho. General Sung has a reputation. After the screen went dark, Tai-Ho slowly stood up. No rest for you after all, said Hannah, her voice gentle with concern. I'll be fine, said Tai-Ho, straightening his thin shoulders. Let's go meet our saboteurs. As they left his quarters, Jun moved slightly closer to Tai-Ho. We will be right beside you, Doctor. Tai-Ho looked up at his two protectors and smiled. I know. That's why I'm not afraid. The main meeting room of Nexus 7 was filled with tension. On one side sat Commander Dai and the station's senior staff. On the other side were the Draxians. General Sung was huge even by Draxian standards. His skin was dark red with black markings that showed his high rank. Sharp ridges ran from his forehead down his back. His eyes were yellow and cold. Tai-Ho sat between June and Hannah. He could feel the general's eyes fixed on him, studying his thin frame. Let us speak plainly, said Dai, his skin a calm diplomatic blue. Your ship is not the diplomatic vessel we expected. Why bring a battle cruiser to a science station? General Sung smiled, showing sharp teeth. Dangerous times require protection, Commander. There are rumors of problems on Nexus 7. What problems? Asked Da. We hear the station is failing. That the human technology is not as good as promised. Sung looked directly at Tai-Ho. That the space-time fabric around the station is tearing. Tai-Ho met the Draxian's gaze steadily. Interesting that you know about the tear. We only discovered it recently. News travels fast, said Sung with a wave of his large hand. My scientists predicted such failures when humans first proposed this station. The tear isn't a failure, said Tai-Ho calmly. It's sabotage, and we have evidence of who did it. The room went silent. General Sung's eyes narrowed to slits. Careful, human. Accusations need proof. We have proof, said Tai-Ho. The code used to damage our systems has clear Draxian markers. General Sung stood suddenly, his massive body casting a shadow over the table. You dare accuse the Draxian Empire of such tricks? We fight our enemies openly. Commander Da's colors flashed with warning. No one has formally accused your government, General. Please sit. The Draxian slowly sat down, but his eyes never left Tai-Ho. What do you want, General Sung? Asked Tai-Ho directly. Why are you really here? To protect Draxian interests. The human-alien alliance is bad for the galaxy. Humans are too weak to be true partners. Yet here I am, solving a problem your people created. The general's face darkened with anger. You think solving math puzzles makes your species worthy. Strength is what matters in this galaxy. Tai-Ho stayed calm. There are many kinds of strength. There is only one kind that matters. Sung slammed his fist on the table, making everything shake. The kind that wins wars. We didn't come here to fight, said Da. Nexus 7 is a place of peace and science. Peace, Sung laughed. Peace is for the weak, for those who cannot win. He pointed at Tai-Ho. Like this human. Look at him. He would break if I merely shook his hand. June shifted, ready to stand, but Tai-Ho placed a gentle hand on his arm. What do you propose, General? Asked Tai-Ho, his voice still calm. Sung smiled. Simple. Nexus 7 will end its alliance with humans. You will leave, and Draxian scientists will take your place. And if we refuse? Asked Da. Then I invoke the right of challenge under the Galactic Accords. The room erupted in voices. Day's colors swirled wildly. A challenge? This is a science station, not an arena. The accords are clear, said Sung. When two parties cannot agree, a challenge can be called. The winner's terms are accepted. Everyone looked at Tai-Ho. Under the accords, the challenged party had to accept or forfeit. The human accepts, said June suddenly, standing tall. No, said General Sung, smiling cruelly. The challenge is for the human himself. Dr. Kim must fight my champion. Himself. Alone. Hana stood now too. That's not fair. Dr. Kim is not a warrior. Exactly, said Sung. That is my point. Humans are too fragile to fight their own battles. How can they be worthy allies? Tai-Ho slowly stood. His body seemed small and fragile compared to the aliens around him, but his eyes were sharp and clear. I accept your challenge, General Sung. The room fell silent in shock. Tai-Ho, no, whispered Hana. You can't. The human accepts, laughed Sung. Excellent. Tomorrow at midday, in the station's main hall, my champion will be ready. His yellow eyes gleamed. Will you, human? As the Draxians left, Jum turned to Tai-Ho. Why? You cannot win a physical fight. Tai-Ho smiled slightly. Who said anything about a physical fight? After the Draxians left, Commander Day called an emergency meeting. His skin was flashing between worried purple and angry red. Tai-Ho, what were you thinking? He asked. You cannot fight a Draxian. They were in a small room with just Tai-Ho, Da, June, Hana, and Dr. Yun. Everyone looked worried. I don't plan to fight in the way General Sung expects, said Tai-Ho. But I need time to fix the tear first. Dr. Yun shook her head. Even if you had a plan, your body couldn't handle it. One hit from a Draxian would break your bones. I know, said Tai-Ho. That's why I need your help. He turned to the screen on the wall, and pulled up the galactic accords. I've been reading the rules. There's something here we can use. Hana leaned closer. What is it? Section 12, Rule 7, said Taiho, highlighting the text. If the challenged person is physically unable to fight, they may name a champion to fight for them. Jun's rocky face showed a rare smile. I will be your champion. Taiho nodded. Thank you. But there's more. He scrolled down. Rule 8 says the challenger can reject a single champion. They would make you fight their strongest warrior. I am not afraid, said Jun firmly. I know. But we need to be smarter. Taiho looked at each of them. Rule 9 says the challenged can name up to 12 champions to fight in different tests. The challenger must accept at least 10 of them. De's skin turned a thoughtful blue. A full challenge circuit. That hasn't been used in 100 years. Exactly, said Taiho. The Draxians won't expect it. And while the challenges happen, I can work on fixing the tier. But where will we find 12 champions willing to fight for you? Asked Dr. Yun. Hana stood tall. I will fight. As will I, said Jun. De's colors shifted to a determined green. I will also stand for Dr. Kim. That's only 3, said Dr. Yun. We need 9 more. Taiho smiled. Let's find out who else will stand with us. Word spread quickly through Nexus 7. By morning, a crowd had gathered in the main hall. The Draxians stood on one side, looking confident. General Sung smiled when he saw Taiho enter with Jun and Hana. The fragile human arrives, he said loudly. Have you come to surrender? No, said Taiho calmly. I've come to invoke Rule 9 of the Challenge Accords. I name my champions. General Sung's smile disappeared. Champions? You get 1 champion, human. Actually, said Commander Da, stepping forward, Dr. Kim has the right to name up to 12 champions for a challenge circuit. A circuit. Sung's yellow eyes narrowed. That is an ancient format. But still valid, said Taiho. My first champion is Commander Jun. Jun stepped forward, his rocky body towering over most beings present. My second champion is Lieutenant Hana. Hana moved next to Jun, her scales glittering with determination. My third champion is Commander Da. Day joined them, his skin a bright, brave green. Taiho continued. My fourth champion is Chief Engineer Mun of the Talarian people. A tall alien with 4 arms and silver skin stepped forward. My fifth champion is Security Officer Quan of the Brill. A stocky, blue-skinned alien joined the line. As Taiho called each name, another alien stepped forward. Beings of different species, sizes, and abilities, all standing together. Their faces showed determination and unity. By the time Taiho finished, 12 champions stood in a line before the Draxians. General Sung's face was dark with anger. What is this? He demanded. Why would all these beings fight for 1 weak human? Because, said Jun in his deep voice, Dr. Kim has earned our respect with his mind, not his muscle. And because, added Hana, humans understand that true strength comes from standing together. Commander Dai stepped forward. The challenge circuit will begin tomorrow. 12 tests, strength, speed, endurance, strategy, and more. Your champions against ours. General Sung glared at Taiho. This changes nothing, human. When your champions lose, the alliance ends. Taiho met his gaze calmly. Then we won't lose. As the crowd dispersed, many aliens came to Taiho. They touched his shoulder gently or nodded with respect. The human might be physically fragile, but he was no longer standing alone. That night, as Taiho worked on the tear problem in his lab, he looked at Jun and Hana standing guard. Thank you, he said softly, for fighting for me. We are not just fighting for you, said Hana. We are fighting with you. Jun nodded. And together, we will win. The main hall of Nexus 7 had been changed overnight. Now it was set up for the challenge circuit. A large ring sat in the center. Screens around the walls showed the rules and scores. Every seat was filled as aliens from all over the station came to watch. Tai-ho sat in a special area with his champions. Across the hall, General Sung sat with his Draxian warriors. "The first test is strength," announced the official, a neutral Moravian who had been called to judge. "Each side will choose one champion." General Sung pointed to a massive Draxian, whose arms were covered in battle scars. "Krell will fight for us." Tai-ho looked at his champions. Jun stepped forward. "I will fight for Dr. Kim." The two giants entered the ring. The test was simple. They would push against a strength meter. Whoever pushed the highest number would win. "Begin," called the official. Krell went first. He planted his feet, took a deep breath, and pushed the meter with all his might. The numbers climbed quickly. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. The Draxians cheered as the meter finally stopped at 8750. "Beat that, Rockman," growled Krell. Jun stepped up to the meter calmly. He closed his eyes for a moment, then pushed. The numbers climbed. 7,000, 8,000, 8,500, 9,000. The crowd roared as the meter hit 9,200. "Point to Nexus 7, announced the official. As Jun returned, Tai-ho smiled at him. "Well done. The second test is speed," said the official. This time, Hana stepped forward for Tai-ho's team. The Draxians sent a lean, quick warrior named Vel. The race course wound around the entire hall. At the signal, both runners took off. Vel was fast, but Hana's light body and quick reflexes gave her an edge on the turns. She crossed the finish line just ahead of Vel, winning the second point for Tai-ho's team. 2-0, shouted someone in the crowd. "The humans' champions are winning." General Sung's face was dark with anger. He whispered to his warriors, who nodded grimly. The third test was endurance. Both champions had to hold heavy weights for as long as possible. The Draxian champion, a warrior named Tark, used a tricky move to make Commander Day drop his weights. The Draxians won their first point. "Don't worry," said Tai-ho to Da. "You did your best." While the fourth test was being set up, Tai-ho slipped away with Hana. They hurried to the science lab where Tai-ho had been working on the tear problem. "How much time do you need?" asked Hana. "A few hours," said Tai-ho, his fingers flying over the controls. "I've figured out how to close the tear, but I need to get to the core to do it." "The challenges will keep the Draxians busy," said Hana. "Jun and I will get you to the core when you're ready." Tai-ho pointed to a pattern on his screen. "Look at this. I was right. This is definitely sabotage. But it's worse than I thought." Hana leaned closer. "What do you mean?" "The tear isn't just growing. It's being guided. The Draxians didn't just start it. They're controlling it." "How?" "There must be a device somewhere on the station. Something that's sending signals to make the tear grow in a specific way." Hana's scales flashed with alarm. "If they're controlling it, they could make it collapse at any time." "Exactly," said Tai-ho. "The challenges are just a distraction. Their real plan is to destroy Nexus 7, no matter what happens. We have to tell Commander Da." "Not yet. The Draxians are watching him closely. But I need you to do something." Tai-ho quickly explained his plan to Hana. When they returned to the hall, the score was 3-2. Tai-ho's champions were still winning, but the gap was closing. The sixth test was about to begin, a battle of wits and strategy, a game that looked like a complex version of chess. As Tai-ho took his seat, General Sung looked over at him with suspicious eyes. "Where did you go, human?" he asked. "Medical check," lied Tai-ho smoothly. "My condition requires regular monitoring." Sung didn't look convinced, but the next test was starting. One of Tai-ho's champions, a Tellarian with 4 arms and a brilliant mind, took his place at the game board. As the game began, Hana slipped away from the hall. She had a device to find, and not much time left. Meanwhile, Tai-ho watched the games carefully while his mind raced with calculations. The tear was growing faster now. They had less time than he thought. As the sixth challenge ended with another win for Taiho's team, he quietly slipped away again. The score was now 4-2. His champions were doing well, but he knew the real battle was elsewhere. Taiho made his way to a quiet section of the station. His body felt tired, but he pushed on. He had to reach the core access point where Hana would meet him. His communication device beeped. "Taiho, I found something," came Hana's quiet voice. "Level 5, Section C. There's a strange device attached to a power junction." "Can you disable it?" asked Taiho. "No, it has safeguards. If I touch it wrong, it might trigger the tear to collapse immediately." Taiho thought quickly. "Take pictures and meet me at Core Access Point 3. I need to see exactly what we're dealing with." As he moved through the empty corridors, Taiho's mind was busy with calculations and plans. The tear was growing faster now. He could feel a slight vibration in the station's floor, a sign that the space-time fabric was becoming more unstable. Suddenly, he heard footsteps ahead. He ducked into a side passage, his heart beating fast. 2 Draxian warriors walked by, talking in low voices. "The general says wait for his signal," said one. "When he gives the word, we activate the final sequence and get to the escape pods." "How long do we have after that?" 10 minutes before the tear collapses completely. More than enough time. After they passed, Taiho continued on his way, now moving faster despite his body's weakness. The situation was worse than he thought. At Core Access Point 3, Hana was waiting. Her scales were pale with worry. "Look," she said, showing him the pictures on her device. "The Draxians put this device on the main power grid." Taiho studied the images. "It's a quantum resonator. It's creating energy patterns that match the tear's frequency, making it grow in specific ways." "Can you stop it?" "Yes, but not from here. I need to get to the core and change the station's shield frequency first. Otherwise, disabling the device would make the tear collapse even faster." Hana looked concerned. "You should rest first. Your hands are shaking." Taiho looked down. She was right. His thin fingers trembled slightly. "No time," he said. "We have to." His words were cut off as 3 Draxian warriors appeared at the end of the corridor. "The human," one shouted. "Stop him." Hana pushed Taiho behind her. "Run to the core. I'll hold them off." "There are 3 of them," said Taiho. "You can't fight them all." Hana's scales turned a fierce red. "Watch me." As Hana faced the Draxians, Taiho hurried down a side passage. He hated leaving her, but knew she was right. Someone had to get to the core. The passage led to a maintenance corridor that would take him directly to the station's core. As he moved as quickly as his body allowed, Taiho heard the sounds of fighting behind him. He had almost reached the core access door when 2 more Draxians stepped out in front of him. "Going somewhere, human?" one asked with a cruel smile. Taiho had nowhere to run. His fragile body couldn't fight even 1 Draxian, let alone 2. But his mind was still his strongest weapon. He looked around quickly, noticing a control panel on the wall. As the Draxians moved toward him, Taiho lunged for the panel and hit 3 buttons in rapid sequence. The emergency security system activated. A clear barrier dropped from the ceiling, separating Taiho from the Draxians. At the same time, an alarm began to sound. "Station security breach in Section 7, announced the station eye. Containment protocols active." The Draxians pounded on the barrier, but it held firm. "You can't stop us, human," one yelled. "General Sung has already given the signal to activate the final sequence." Taiho's heart sank. "When?" he demanded. The Draxian smiled. 10 minutes ago." Taiho turned and ran for the core door. His body screamed with pain and exhaustion, but he ignored it. The whole station, thousands of lives, depended on him now. As he reached the core door, his communication device beeped again. It was Commander Da. "Taiho, where are you?" General Sung has left the challenges and is demanding to see you. He says if you don't appear in 5 minutes, he'll declare victory by forfeit. Taiho took a deep breath. Tell him I'll be there. But first, I have something important to do. He stepped through the core door into the heart of Nexus 7.